You're listening to Something Cheeky,
a collection of podcasts where two sisters discuss TV, books, and movies with just enough irreverence and far too many pop culture references.
Welcome to Something Cheeky, where we discuss the TV series Vikings. I'm Nikki.
I'm Rosanna.
Well, I've watched the entire series. Rosanna has only watched up to what we're covering today, which is Season 1, Episode 4, called Trial. In this episode, Rollo is full of surprises, and the Earl is batting 0 for 2. Rosanna, what was your initial reaction to this episode?
I liked this episode a lot. I found myself surprised a lot of the time. There was a lot happening, and my queen, Lagertha, badass as usual.
Yeah.
And then I felt uncomfortable with the Earl's questioning of his faith.
Oh, okay.
That was a real weird turn for me.
It was right at the last minute, too.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I thought we got a lot of good stuff. It was great.
How are you feeling about the season overall so far, the arc?
I'm having a really hard time not watching the next episode.
Oh, good!
Because I'm a total marathoner anyway. Like, usually I don't even want to start watching a show unless I can watch the entire season in 2 days. Like over a weekend. So for me to have to stop at the end, it's tough because I want to see what happens next. It's like back in the olden days where you had to wait a week for it to come on.
And watch all those commercials.
Yes, yeah. So, I'm really enjoying the show a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite quote from the episode?
Okay, so my favorite quote I actually have to read from... I couldn't even fit it in my notes. So here's my favorite quote. It's the Vikings battle song.
Oh, okay.
That they all took turns saying the words. So this is how it goes. Up onto the overturned keel, clamber with a heart of steel. Cold as the ocean's spray, and your death is on its way. With maidens you have had your way. Vikings, each must die someday.
Nice.
And I loved this sort of feel of community that we all know this battle chant, and then at the end when Lagertha was like Vikings, I really got into it.
I loved her battle cry as she was stabbing people.
Yeah,
just the higher pitch than all the rest of the people there,
and also that they were way outnumbered.
Oh yeah.
But when he said shields up and they all just did that great shield wall, it was so good. It was kind of sad that they killed all these people. But and they only lost 3 of their own. I just thought that was great. I was really, really on board with that.
I love the shield wall so much that I looked it up to see if the Vikings invented it.
Oh.
Because it was so interesting.
And where else have we seen that?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember, but I remember I remember seeing people lining up and putting up their shields. Wow.
Was it Braveheart?
No, I've never seen Braveheart.
Oh.
Okay, listeners, if you know what I'm talking about, please let me know what I'm talking about.
Pretty sure that's why we do a podcast. We can talk about what we're talking about.
I can't place where it was, but there's definitely something else that I've seen where they have made this sort of wall, and I don't think it was Vikings. I mean, I don't think it was this... I don't think... Oh my God.
You don't think it was a Viking culture that was being portrayed?
Yeah, I don't think the characters that I saw doing this were Vikings.
I think one big difference between the shield wall in this show and what I've seen in other media is it's not just a line. They do it over the top, too.
Right, because of the arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I really like. So I looked up shield wall. Thank you, Wikipedia. Because I was thinking, I wonder if the Vikings invented that. They did not. The first historical reference to a shield wall is on a stone tablet from 2600 BC.
Wow.
Called the Stele of the Vultures, and it has a line of men holding their shields up in a row in a wall.
Wow.
Yeah, so It's been around a long time. I'm actually not sure what culture that's from, but it's older than Vikings.
Yeah, that's really old.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into the action for this episode, I have like 5 clarification notes from our last episode.
Excellent.
About questions we had.
Okay, great.
Number 1, of course, is the dog's bollocks. So the dog's bollocks, we wanted to know what it meant.
Mm-hmm.
So as we know, bollocks is a bad thing. Apparently, bollocks also means testicles.
Which I thought, but I didn't want to say.
So the dog's bollocks, while not a pleasant picture, turns out to actually be a really good thing. It means the best.
What?
The most excellent.
How could bollocks mean bad, but dog's bollocks is good?
I don't know. But,
Okay, I'll just take your word for it.
yeah. Vikings is the dog's bollocks. No.
I guess.
Vikings is the dog's bollocks. I can't do the accent. I'm terrible. It's like this horrible cross between someone from the country in the U.S. and Cockney.
Yeah, it's
really,
really bad. Yeah. I agree.
Thanks.
I'm full of compliments today.
I feel like there's some accents I can kind of do, but I have to say something that I only ever hear in that accent first.
Yeah.
Like, every once in a while I can do kind of a Russian accent, but first I have to say Novosibirsk. I don't know why. It's the name of a city there before I can say anything else with the accent.
Yeah, I can do, like, a little bit of a couple of things, but I'm best at a Southern.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely do Southern. Cause,
yeah.
as you don't know, listeners, our parents are Southern.
Super Southern.
Oh, God. So much South. So much. But, yeah. I am really incredibly terrible, like, even worse than what you just heard, my English accent. Even worse, it's Scottish. Except I can say 2 things, because I went to Scotland for a while, and I learned these 2 things. How to say the Edinburgh, it's Edinburgh. And bed and breakfast is bead and breakfast.
Bead and breakfast.
Bead and breakfast.
I like it.
Literally, that's all I've got. Everything else is horrific.
My Scottish all boils down to one phrase from the Disney movie Brave.
Which is?
I'll be shooting for me own hand.
That's okay.
No, it's not good. I'm not trying to say it is. That's just the only one I've got.
That's great.
All right, so clarify some more stuff for us.
All right. King Ayla did actually exist.
Okay.
But a little over a century after the show Vikings takes place.
Ah.
Apparently, and I don't think this is going to be a spoiler, because Ragnar is the main character, but Ragnar Lodbrok did exist.
Oh, I think I knew that.
Yeah, during the same time as King Ayla. Apparently, Lodbrok meant shaggy breeches. He was Ragnar's shaggy breeches.
What?
I know.
What?
I'm just imagining him wearing pants that are made of, like woolly mammoth.
Yes, that's exactly the picture I had in my head, but not woolly mammoth. I was thinking like ox.
Okay, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
A woolly ox.
Yeah.
Or in Scotland, they have the longhorn Highland cows that have the really long hair. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Just like hairy pants.
Yeah. So, I have a couple of things from Wikipedia I found out. Apparently, certain scholars in recent years believes that Ragnar's story is based on historical fact. Mm-hmm. Alternately, there's no evidence Ragnar actually ever lived. He seems to be an amalgamation of several different historical figures.
Which I think happens a lot.
Oh, yeah.
For that far back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
2 other things, not as exciting. George Blagden did not play King George. He played Louis XIV.
Oh, okay.
Which doesn't really matter, but I had to find out for my own personal
and if
knowledge.
Somebody was listening to the last episode and they were screaming at you you were wrong, now they probably feel better.
You're vindicated.
You're welcome.
French historians. And sheriffs. So, sheriffs used to be kind of a hereditary position, but they didn't actually come into existence until about the 10th century. Which is after the show takes place. Before that, it was Eldermen that played that role, but they were more like sub-kings.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they weren't hereditary. They were appointed from the nobility.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's unlikely that the sheriff there was supposed to be like an Elderman. But he was too early to be a sheriff. He was a pre-sheriff.
He was way ahead of his time. Okay.
All right. Into the action. We're in England. We see the really pretty, picturesque valley with the little houses, and I really want to live there. It looked so nice.
Yes.
Except for the Viking attack that happened early Sunday morning.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah. So I'm guessing that when you heard Ragnar ask what day it was and you found out the next day was Sunday, you knew exactly why he was waiting.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that too.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, I'm really glad that Athelstan wasn't there to find out how useful his information is.
Yes. Poor Applestand. Oh, that's rough.
I wondered if Ragnar told Lagertha the plan. It wasn't clear from her expressions if she already knew or not. I mean, obviously no one else did. Right. Especially not Rollo.
Yeah. I feel like Ragnar probably didn't think he needed... Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Ragnar probably didn't think he needed to tell his plan to anybody, including Lagertha.
Probably also helps if he's wrong.
That's true.
No one realizes he was
Good
wrong.
Point.
Why did we attack on Sunday? Everyone was in their houses. I was tired. I just needed a good night's sleep.
It came to me in a vision by Raven Gandalf.
All right. Oh, so Ayla has this letter describing everything that happened at the monastery. So, did someone get away from the monastery?
It must be. That's what I wondered about that too. Somebody must have survived.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe
also,
it was the guy that got pulled out of the toilet bin by Rollo.
Gross. Yeah. I also, and I don't know why, but was really surprised at the appearance of the king.
Ah.
He did not look at all like I expected an English king to look.
Yeah.
He was very hairy. I mean, you know what I mean? He had that big curly hair, and he was like a big dark guy. I guess that's just not what I imagine when I imagine English kings.
Yeah, to me he looked like a really greasy John Rhys Davis when he was in Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay, kind of. I kept thinking, doesn't he kind of look like the guy that is in, what is it, Kings of Leon?
Oh, I don't know what he looks like.
He kind of looks like that.
But his sex is on fire.
Exactly. And so is this king's. No, not really.
They really played up the whole greasy angle on him. It was...
Yeah, I was not a fan.
Not great. Yeah. I noticed that of all the English people we've met so far, Athelstan is literally the only attractive one we've seen.
Oh, yeah.
All the Vikings are super hot.
Yes.
And then Athelstan, and then everybody else.
That's weird.
Those poor I feel bad for the English. They're being portrayed so unpleasantly.
Yeah. Maybe they started getting more attractive when the Vikings started coming over and...
Yep. Spreading that DNA.
Yes.
Ugh.
I mean, I'm assuming some of it was consensual.
You can assume that if it makes you feel better.
It does make me feel better. Don't tell me different.
I feel like we've had this conversation before.
I feel like we're going to have it again, too.
Ragnar's English has improved even more over the past 2 days.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's like perfect. He's been listening to tapes.
Oh, man. So almost as good as the nervous geese was Floki in the communion wine.
Oh, my gosh.
He sipped it and spit it out and then was so excited by everyone being shocked he had to do it again. It was so funny.
I don't like him.
Bad.
Yeah, I don't like him nearly as much as I did to the first episode.
Oh, really?
He's just, he's a little crazy and a little mean.
He is mean.
Because he killed the priest.
Well, to be fair, they said if you don't resist, you'll be fine, and that priest resisted.
How did he resist?
He was going for the cross. Because Floki had the cross. I'm not defending murder, but I'm defending Floki.
I just... yeah, I don't know how I feel about him. It's right now it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know how I feel about Knut, who's a total piece of shit.
Oh my gosh, he's the worst.
Yeah.
I hated him more than... I thought I
didn't like Rollo.
Yeah, I hated Knut more in this episode than I hated Rollo.
Yeah, that's saying a lot.
It is.
Lagertha almost gets raped herself, and it seems really terrible. I mean, she's passed out for a second there, so I was nervous for her.
Yeah. And then she just looks at him, and she's just like, that was a terrible mistake you just made.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what the Saxon woman that had just been raped was thinking about the whole situation. Like, this man just raped me. A woman came in, obviously they were fighting, and then he tried to rape her, and then she killed him.
Yeah, it's not...
What are her impressions of the Vikings at this point?
Probably
Very
not
confusing.
Good.
Yeah.
However, I've never been the victim of sexual assault, so I can't say what is going through a victim's mind. But I think that maybe even though this is a horrible and traumatic experience for her, she got a tiny little bit of satisfaction that he immediately got what was coming to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Immediately. So, I hope that gave her just a tiny little bit of peace.
Yeah. I'm really upset that her son was in the room that whole time, too.
I know. Knut is the worst. Why would... I mean, jeez.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But now he's dead, so we're all happy.
As he deserves.
Mm-hmm. Ragnar wasn't too happy about that one, but he totally took it in stride.
If this was Lies of Loch Lamora, they would have dumped him in the water with the crazy sharks.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, so we get to the beach. The Saxon prisoner sighs in relief way too soon.
Yeah,
he almost smirks. But and we find out that, well, Ayla learns Ragnar's name. Which I don't think that really works the way he did, because the men came back and said they didn't understand anything they were saying except they kept saying Ragnar. Like they knew it was a name. How would they even know that was a name?
Yeah, and also, why would the guys be saying his name over and over again?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
I remember hearing them say, Ragnar! Ragnar! They
were
not screaming his name.
No, I think that was just, they needed that to happen, so they just forced it.
So Ayla has someone to
focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was surprised they didn't take any slaves from the village, or the prisoner they had, who seemed pretty compliant.
Yeah.
But maybe there was no room on the ship with all the stuff they stole.
That could be.
Yeah.
Or maybe they decided that the slaves didn't really work out since they had to kill 2 of them. For whatever reason.
Yeah. Man.
Maybe they decided it wasn't worth the effort.
And Athelstan gets angry with God, which makes me think that he says it's the first time he's ever been angry, which to me means he's never endured any hardship until now.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty new.
Yeah, definitely. And also, what a huge crisis of faith to have what you believed your whole life completely turned upside down.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty traumatic.
Yeah. So there's a production note I had on here. Just the way they did the makeup in the show. Ragnar is spattered in blood. Athelstan's face is very dirty, and even his fingernails are dirty. So just how much work they have to do to get them ready for the camera. I'm just imagining someone on the beach standing in front of Travis Fimmel with a spray bottle of fake blood spraying his face.
Oh, I love that.
To get it ready.
And you know what?
A little more on the side.
And his face being covered in blood really makes his blue eyes stand out.
Oh, I thought that too, yeah.
Every scene that he's in with the blood, I mean, it's just his eyes take up the whole screen, it seems like. I mean, they're so blue.
Yeah, the poster for the first season is basically just his face, and his eyes are incredibly bright.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, what did you think made Athelstan change his mind about going to Kattegat? It wasn't clear to me. If it was related to his being angry with God or taking charge in some way.
Well, before I address that, I'm just going to real quick say, I thought it was weird that there was an owl in the house and that was okay.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, it's just an owl. And I would be like, ah, it's an owl! You know, get it out of the house.
I thought he would think it was a sign or something. Maybe
I thought that too.
Yeah.
He didn't really seem like it. He was just like, no, don't even try anymore, God. So why he changed his mind about going? I guess maybe I'd like to think that, you know, he seems like he's a pretty sensitive guy, and he could see that Bjorn's anger was covering his fear. He was worried about his parents. He wanted to see them as soon as they landed to know that they're okay. And, you know, maybe Athelstan realized that that's what it was, and decided that that was more important.
Athelstan is such a good man.
Yes. Or he was afraid that he was going to go anyway and thought that Ragnar would kill him and was saving his own life by
Bjorn would sacrifice him in his sleep.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't believe he said that. It was so awful.
I can believe hearing that out of a 12-year-old's mouth.
Yeah, that's a rotten kids. Anyway.
Yeah. So we get back to Kattegat, and the ship arrives. I like that the Earl tried to take a new tactic, being friendly and supposedly happy everyone was back, and it lasted about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Until he found out Knut was dead.
Yep. And then we found out that Knut was his brother.
Yeah.
Messy.
Yeah, so I was seriously distracted during the scene when they're all talking right at the dock. When in the background I saw the seer.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, it was just like, what the hell? Because it was, his makeup was so dramatic.
Yeah, he's really yucky.
Yeah. But I had to pause. I'm like, what? What happened? Yeah, and then I had to go back to the action. It took me a second. Man. So the Earl talks to Rollo. I love that he says Ragnar wants to take credit for everything, like building the boat and sailing west. Pretty sure Ragnar deserves all the credit for that.
Rollo didn't do any of that.
Yeah, Rollo said it would have been impossible without him. He did nothing but fight just like all the other men that went.
Yeah. That guy's got an ego, for sure.
Yeah. It was terrible.
But I think he was definitely listening to the Earl. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What do you think made him decide to stay on Ragnar's side instead of get all the riches and the daughter as a wife?
I have no idea. I have none. I have no idea.
Well, I mean, I guess he says it was for Lagertha.
I guess.
But does he think he's actually going to get Lagertha?
No, I can't imagine that he is deluded enough to think that he has a chance with her.
Yeah.
I mean, so is he just like Snape? You know what I mean? Where he just loves her anyway, even though there's no chance.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I was stumped.
So there was one part when the Earl said Rollo was standing in the shadow of Ragnar, and Rollo looked back at the seer, and they kind of shared this look, and I wondered if he and the seer had talked about this before, if he had asked if he was ever going to stand on his own or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it was a very deliberate look back.
Yeah, it could be that they had already had a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
I wonder what the
I wish
seer
I had seen it, though, honestly.
I wonder what the seer prophesizes for Rollo. Ooh, what do you think the seer prophesizes for Rollo?
I don't know.
Death at the hands of Lagertha?
I mean, maybe. No, I don't. I'm not sure.
Okay. So we get to the trial, which, if you had watched the pilot, you would have known the trial was basically a foregone conclusion, where everyone agrees with what the Earl says.
Right.
Were you worried about Ragnar? Or did you think he had plot armor?
No, I was worried.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the show's about him. He's not going to get killed. But I did not know how they were going to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was really... Yeah, I was worried for sure.
Were you pretty convinced Rollo was gonna not be on his side at that point?
I was, yeah.
Oh, and Ragnar's face when they say they have a witness and Rollo steps forward.
Yes.
It's
He was
just-
suspicious, too.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
His face is it's just crestfallen.
Yeah.
I think he knows, he thought he knew what Rollo was capable of, but at that moment he maybe was realizing he had been wrong, even though it turns out
Right.
Rollo stood up for him. It was like everything he knew was wrong at that point.
Yeah, and I even wonder at what point Rollo decided
Oh.
to lie. Was it before that moment or was it in that moment? Because
Well,
he looked really I don't know how to describe his expression when he stepped forward, but it was I don't know.
I didn't think about it before, but he didn't step forward. They didn't do the witness thing until after Lagertha said that she had actually killed him.
Right. So maybe he
So-
wasn't going to.
Oh, Rollo.
He would have let Ragnar go, but he wouldn't let Lagertha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I bet that's totally right, Nikki. Good job.
Oh, Rollo. Oh, and so apparently the Earl has never heard of Lagertha being a famous shield maiden, which makes me wonder if she's not as famous as Rollo had said. And if maybe that was a joke when he first said she was famous to
Oh.
Bjorn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he's called her that a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But now I wonder if it's almost like a pet kind of.
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, obviously she's a shield maiden, but famous, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Ragnar gets acquitted, and then they have a party, which everyone's having a great time until there's an assassination attempt.
I was so sad that they killed Erik.
Yeah.
I really liked Erik a lot.
And then it turned out that that other guy was his son.
Which guy?
Just one of the other fighters.
Oh, yeah.
I
yeah.
don't know his name, but he
Leaf.
said father.
It was Leaf, right?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. I was so sad that I really liked Erik a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm really glad that he got that moment in the last episode where he was so happy on the boat.
Yes, me too.
That was really nice.
Yeah. That was a real bummer.
I know, when he was comedic relief sometimes.
And, I mean, they were celebrating.
Yeah.
The Earl is a jerk.
Yeah, and he's basically burned all his bridges with Ragnar.
Yeah.
I mean, to him, he probably doesn't care so much, but
Oh, that's going to come back to bite him.
oh,
I mean, definitely.
it sure seems like it.
Yeah.
But at that point, if he had let it go, he could have continued to send Ragnar and his secret compass to the
Yeah.
west to make him more money, but now he can't.
Well, and I think, too, that he started a war that his chances of winning are not good. I mean, just by sending, those guys to kill one of them, he said to Ragnar, "This is war."
Mm-hmm.
And Ragnar's not going to step down. He's, he's going to keep doing what he wants to do, just as he has been doing what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm. And now, according to Athelstan, now I'm mixing Applestand and Athelstan. According to Applestand, Ragnar's preparing himself,
Yes.
sitting up on that cliff.
Yeah.
So, what exactly do you think he's preparing himself for? Like, what particular action?
I don't know.
If you were Ragnar, what would you do next?
I'm kind of anti-confrontational.
So you go back to your farm and never go to Kattegat again?
I never would have tried to travel in the wrong direction.
So not just anti-conflict.
I would have stayed home
but
all the time.
But you're risk averse.
Yes. Maybe he's preparing, maybe he's mentally preparing for a time that he knows is going to be difficult and dangerous. And he's just getting in the right, mindset because Because fighting, in his particular situation, he's going to need to be really strategic to win, to keep himself safe, to keep his family safe, to keep his crew safe. He's going to have to be really careful, messing with the Earl, because I know he's going to. So the Earl has a lot of people on his side, a lot more than Ragnar does at this point. I would not be surprised if in the future some of those people go onto Ragnar's side. So I think he's just getting ready for a fight.
Well, the Earl's obviously pretty scared.
As he should be.
Yeah. And we find out that if Ragnar kills the Earl, he becomes Earl.
Yeah. Must be a Viking thing.
Yeah.
I know it's that way in some other ways too, but I mean, you would think it would be... Well, I guess if the Earl doesn't have any sons anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, because we found out that they're actually all dead, it turns out.
Yeah. He just has the daughter, but his son-in-law, if she was married, would take over. It would seem like... I guess if you don't have somebody challenge the Earl, then it goes by family.
I would think so.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know that Ragnar really wants to be Earl. I don't think that's his goal.
Yeah, what do you think his goal is?
He just wants to go where he wants to go and keep doing what he's doing and take care of his family. And, I don't know that he has the ambition the way Rollo apparently does.
Yeah, well, Rollo has ambition. He doesn't seem willing to do anything about it.
Agreed. He's lazy. It's lazy ambition.
He just wants it handed to him.
Well, no, he wants to take it from Ragnar.
Yeah.
He wants Ragnar to do the work, and he wants the credit. And I think it's probably because he knows that Ragnar doesn't want, to be held up.
He doesn't want the power necessarily.
Yeah. So
I think the freedom.
Yeah, I think Rollo thinks it'd be easy to take it from him, and maybe that's where some of his loyalty is. He thinks he's going to benefit from it. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll find out more next week when we discuss Season 1, Episode 5, called Raid.
Okay.
What do you think might happen in Raid?
What could happen in an episode called Raid? I'm going to guess that the Vikings are going to travel to England again and raid something.
I don't know. That's a pretty out there guess.
I wouldn't bet money on it. But that's my guess.
It's really just the Vikings getting together and fumigating the Longhouse.
Raid! That reminds me of that terrible commercial with the cockroaches.
That is a terrible commercial, and you had that voice down perfectly.
Thank you!
That was way better than your Scottish accent.
Oh, so I do a better cockroach than a Scot?
I didn't say that, but I'm not gonna not say that.
Yeah, alright. I'll just stick to sounding like insects instead of foreigners. Cool. Oh my gosh.
Sentence I'm not sure I would ever have expected to hear you say.
Okay, so, but like, what if we have listeners that actually are Scottish, and they heard me do that, and they're like, oh god, please don't ever try that again.
It's like the English people who heard me say, the dog's bollocks.
They probably are like, you idiot. Oh.
And now they're all trying to do American accents, probably way better than our English and Scottish accents.
The whole world is just like really good at a lot of stuff that we're not.
I also apologize to all of our Russian listeners who heard me say Novosibirsk.
I hope, though, instead of writing to us and saying, you guys are the worst, please stop talking in accents, they're going to say, good try, mate.
I now put in an apology for our Australian listeners. Really, every country, blanket apology for what we've done to your language.
If we've offended you at all, we are really sorry, and it's just because we're jealous that you guys sound amazing.
Definitely.
I love those accents, definitely. Okay.
Time for top 3. What's your category, Rosanna?
My category for top 3, Nikki, is ways that Rollo surprised me.
Ooh.
Yes. Number 1. When they get to England before they do the raid, Ragnar says, we're not going right now. We're not going later tonight. We're waiting until tomorrow. And you can see that Rollo is irritated.
Mm-hmm.
But he does not argue with him much. He does a little bit. And he does not force an explanation.
Yeah.
He just says, fine, whatever. And so for somebody that is irritated about being treated as like a second in command, even though he's asked to be an equal, he doesn't argue. So I was really surprised by that. I expected a little tiff.
Why do you think he didn't argue? Was he just tired of arguing with Ragnar at that point?
Well...
Or do you think he's maturing as a Viking?
No,
and a man?
I don't think that's what it is. I think that even though he's irritated at Ragnar, he also knows that Ragnar has been right all along. The first raid at the monastery, getting there in the first place, moving through all this stuff, I think he's acknowledging that Ragnar knows more than he does. Mm-hmm. And so he's just taking his word for it. But that is a more mature, reaction than I was expecting. So, and then the second thing that surprised me that Rollo did, or should I say didn't do, is he didn't kill the sick old man in the bed.
Oh, yeah.
He gave him water to make sure that he had some water before he took away his pitcher.
Yeah.
But, I mean, from from what we've seen, they just stab people, like, left and right.
Yeah.
And this guy was a real easy target.
They killed far fewer people in this episode than they have in previous.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I mean, he saw this very defenseless man. Not only did he not kill him, but he helped him before he took it away. So, that was very unlike the character that I've seen him as so far.
Nice.
I don't know why he's got feelings now, but whatever. And then, of course, the big one, number 3, is him lying. Lying to the Earl about being a witness and saving Lagertha from probably being killed. Being called guilty and being killed. I think that's exactly where that was going to go. And I really thought by the time we got to that point after the discussion with the Earl, I thought he had gone over to the other side. I really did. I was very surprised that when he stepped forward, it was to lie and not to tell the truth.
Yeah, I really am wondering if he had been planning on lying, because when he came out into the room for the trial, he seemed pretty self-satisfied.
Yes. Yeah. So he gave up marrying the Earl's daughter to save Lagertha's life. I mean,
and made it seem a lot more like his feelings were a lot more serious than I previously realized. He didn't just want to do her. It sounds like he's actually in love with her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. But I mean, I still don't like him.
Rollo, he doesn't know how to go about things in any sort of honorable way, it seems like.
So what I'll say about that last one is being one of the top 3 ways Rollo surprised me. I was as surprised as the Earl when Rollo lied. Because the Earl and I were like, what? So, yeah.
Nice.
Definitely a different side of this character this week.
Yeah. Do you have any predictions about Rollo or Ragnar for next week? Or the Earl or Lagertha?
I hope that Ragnar stays home for a little while.
Okay.
And I also wonder if Applestand might go on a raid.
Oh. Why do you think he's going to go?
Well, I don't know. I know that Ragnar's using him to get information and the knowledge of these other areas and stuff. But I wonder if Ragnar might make him come. He's not going to want to, but make him come anyway for more information. Of course, the last time, I mean, he learned English in like 2 days, so maybe he doesn't need him to come with him. Maybe he'll keep leaving him home to take care of the kids. I don't know.
Well, I wonder if you took him back to England, if he might try to escape.
I don't know. I mean, I can definitely see that he's starting to like him. That they're starting to like each other.
Yeah.
And I expected that.
BFFs.
Yes, I can see that developing. Which, even though I don't think it's super realistic, that if you get kidnapped, you become friends with the person that kidnapped you.
Stockholm Syndrome?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little
the right place for Stockholm Syndrome.
But it's a little too quick. But regardless if it's realistic or not, I'm glad it's happening.
Now I'm imagining Ragnar and Athelstan holding hands and turning in a circle really fast.
Oh, that'd be adorable.
Be so cute.
Yes. With their both crazy hairstyles.
Another request to listeners to please draw that, because that would be fantastic. I want a wall full of amazing characters.
Just images
poses
that
they just won't do on the show.
Yes, images that we've come up with. So, yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen next. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm super excited that we're recording this right now, which means I can watch the next episode tonight.
It's time for Cheek of the Week, where we talk about something awesome that we like. My Cheek of the Week is something that is definitely technically a child's toy that I bought long before I had a child.
Hey, don't be ashamed. You own that.
I do own it.
That's not what I meant. All right.
So it's pretty appropriate for Vikings. It's this unfinished wood pirate ship kit.
Ooh.
It's awesome. Oh my god. So it's like really thick pieces of wood. They're probably an inch thick. And it's really easy to assemble. And you build this pirate ship that's probably 2 feet long and maybe 1.5 feet tall. It even has sails. You can put it together, and depending on which one you get, it's a Ryan's Room toy. This is the brand. It's
okay.
Adventures Ahoy pirate ship. I've had it for several years. And considering my child is only a year old, I definitely bought it before she was a glimmer in my eye. But I've used it since then. I'll put it together under Halloween sometimes and put candy in it, because it has a pretty deep section in the middle.
That sounds adorable.
It is. It's really cool. And it's really sturdy. You could actually use it for, I guess, playing pirates if you want to, or Vikings.
Wait, you could play with this toy?
You shush.
I'm being real sarcastic this episode.
But it's super awesome. I haven't done this to mine, but it's unfinished. You can paint it. You can finish it if you want, stain it, all different things.
Oh, fun.
But it's super rad, and eventually I guess I'll let Isadora play with it, but for now it's just mine.
Don't play with Mommy's toys.
Mine.
Yeah. Mine. Probably till she gets past the putting everything in her mouth and also throwing things on the ground and breaking them.
Yeah, I'm...
So maybe when she's like
really waiting
11.
for those days. Yeah. What's your cheek, Rosanna?
Okay, so my cheek of the week, Nikki, is an app.
Okay.
I have recently, sadly, started working out again. I don't like to work out at all. Mm-hmm. But I need to, because my doctor's like, oh, exercise makes you live longer. So, so what I do is I go to my gym, and I was going to say I run on the treadmill, but that is not accurate. I jog. Okay. I'm not a runner at all. And what I do is interval. So I'll jog for a while at a flat
incline. 0 incline? No incline?
I will jog for a while at a 0 incline. And then the machine every 2 minutes will switch back and forth if you pick the interval. So
okay.
when it switches to the other one, I walk at a fast pace, but at an incline. So I'm working like different parts and I'm getting my heart rate up, but then I get to take a break in between so I don't pass out. So the app that I found, and I'm sure other people have heard of it, and maybe I'm just like way behind on the times, but it's called Rock My Run.
Oh.
So it's an app that this music that's on it is mixed by like DJs. You can pick a playlist that is beats per minute.
Oh.
So when I'm running, I always do much better keeping a pace when it's on pace with the music. So I just pick the pace that I want, and it plays songs that they have remixed to be in that beats per minute speed.
Oh, nice.
So the whole time I'm running, my feet are hitting at the beat, so I get to keep pace. And the playlist, it's crazy. You can get, rock from the 70s, or pop music from the 2000s, or pop country music, or whatever. They've got lots and lots, and I don't pay for it. I got the free version. You can pay a subscription on it, so it's like $4.99 a month. And it gives you more skips, and it opens up more playlists, I guess. But so far for me, the free one is working, and it just makes the running go so much smoother because it's easier for me to keep putting my feet down when I'm going with the beat. And so they take regular songs that are all different speeds and they line them all up on this beats per minute. So I get to hear music that I really like anyway that otherwise I really couldn't run to.
That is nice. That sounds cool.
It's a really cool app. I am a big fan. I recommend it. Nice. And I think I might pay for it at some point. Because I like the variety, you know? So sometimes when I don't run and I'm just walking, like speed walking, but not like the weird image you get in your head with the shaking butt, just like walking at a fast pace, I listen to podcasts. But when I'm running, a podcast just doesn't cut it. I need a beat.
Yeah.
Give me a beat, just like Janet Jackson says. So that's my Cheek of the Week.
Nice.
It's a really good app. So listeners, you can find all of our Cheeks of the Week and send us your questions on our website, somethingcheekypodcast.com.
That's our episode. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on Twitter at SomeCheek.
And please check out our other podcast where we talk about the book, The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch.
It's awesome. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Dig-a-da-dum, dig-a-da-da-da-dum.